I hate videos. Now, you may be wondering, if I hate videos, what the heck am I doing here? Woohoo! Happy Friday, everyone. I am just super excited to be able to spend a little bit of time with all of you. If you and I have not met yet, my name is Inger van Roy, and I'm recognized as a community connection catalyst. So, what does that mean? Well, I help you build your community because this world can be a pretty lonely place, especially in the world of entrepreneurship and even in the corporate world. So I am that person. If you need help, send me a message so that I can explore how I can help you. Today, we will be having a pretty important conversation because, as most of you will know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And as you can see, I'm wearing my pink. I will be introducing somebody to you who is a breast cancer survivor. And she calls herself a surthriver because she not only survives, she thrives. Um, Patti Hone is somebody really that you want to connect with. She is someone that you will definitely have some good conversations with. And she's a fellow Canadian. I mean, how much better can it be? So, I want to say thank you to our sponsors at Africop Online Radio, where we bring you the very best in local and international music. We are your oasis of entertainment. And if you didn't know, my Wednesday show goes live there every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you'd like to check out the radio station, please go to their website, which is africop.co.za. It's scrolling across your screen right now. And click Listen Live. There's always some amazing music and important conversations taking place on that platform. So, without further ado, why don't we say hello to my wonderful guest, Patti Hone. Good
Hello.
morning.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Awesome. Patty, thank you for taking the time out to spend here with us today.
My
Um,
pleasure.
it's really an honor to be able to connect with you and have this conversation because I think it's an important one. You know, we don't like to speak about the big C a
Mhm.
lot of the time, right? But I'm glad that I'm going to have this conversation with you so that we can enlighten people on, what it's like, what the journey is like, what it's like to be in your shoes.
Mhm.
But before we jump in, won't you please introduce yourself? Let everyone know who you are and what you do.
All right, thank you. Well, I'm Patti Hone, and I'm the president of a marketing and communications company called As You Like It Marketing. And that was the first half of my life. And now I focus on spreading the word about breast cancer and what it means to have the disease, how to fight it, how it changes your life. I decided when I was diagnosed 5 years ago that I would write a blog. First of all, it was more of a catharsis for me. It was easier for me to put down my feelings and what I was going through in words than to say it, because occasionally I would get, choked up, emotional, because it is pretty frightening when you're told you have cancer. So my family and friends could read the blog and find out where I was in my journey. I started posting it on LinkedIn and Pinterest and Facebook, again, just to reach the contacts that I had in my business life and personal life. But the blog took on a life of its own. And I started getting a lot of comments from around the world. And to date, I have 25 million views in 149 countries. That blew me
Wow.
away, blew me away. I had no idea that, my journey would impact so many other people. But I
Hmm.
think the important thing that I've learned from that feedback is that cancer can be very, very isolating.
Yes.
Um, it's scary. Some people don't like to talk about it, and I respect that. It's a very, very personal journey. But I've always been someone who has been very honest, open about things, and by talking about it, it's helped me a lot. And I'm hoping that it's helped other people too to not feel so alone.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having conversations like these because I know that you do it not just with me, there are others too. So if anyone is interested, Patty's blog website is on your screen right now. Go and read. Actually, before I connected with her, I read her blog. Um, and I knew that she was somebody that I could have open and honest conversation with about her journey. So I'm looking forward to this. Let us, before we go, let's say hello. We have Dorothy says, "Good morning, friends. Happy Friday."
Hi, Dorothy.
Dorothy. Dorothy is actually a fellow Canadian. She is in Windsor, Ontario. So good to have you. And she says, "Good to see you again." I guess she must have seen you on Tim's show.
Yeah, I've also been on Dorothy's show.
Oh, have you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I make the rounds.
It's funny because I didn't know that you were connected to the two of them before I reached out to you.
Yeah,
So it's crazy how small the world is,
I
isn't it?
know. Serendipity.
Yeah. And then we have Whitney Koch saying good morning from Katy, Texas. Nice to have you here. We also have Jamie Rockamore Bess saying good morning. Good morning, Jamie. I just want to look at, so I see some people are commenting, but it's not populating on within StreamYard. So I can see that Trey Bolin also says good morning. And we have Platine Mwenya saying hello, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and for spending some time with us. It's good to have you here. I see Dorothy says she was on my show as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dorothy. So, Patty, you know, this is inspiration from Inga. So, won't you please tell us what inspires you? Did you hear me? Hi, Patty. Can you hear me?
Goes for a bit.
Um, okay. It's
No,
just a
you're
little
still
bit of a
frozen.
lag. Okay. Uh, can
Okay,
you hear me
there we
now?
go.
Okay.
Okay,
Can you
yes.
tell us what inspires you, Patty? Sorry, it
All
your
right, I
internet
think you're
is
going to
lagging.
ask me about. Okay, we're good now.
Can you hear me? Okay. So, I just wanted to know what inspires you?
All right, can you? Yes, okay. Hmm. You know,
Is it-
who, but wasn't with the army. My father was, if people don't know, a Canadian broadcaster. company to 3 years. So I was always the new connect network very, very quickly, because I always had to make new friends. Um, in my early childhood, I think my one of my biggest inspirations was my grandfather. Um, to me, he was very strong, tall, always impeccably dressed. He was a protocol officer in the Air Force, and I really, really looked up to him. He spent time teaching me how to dive because he was a high diver, and he bought me my first watch and taught me how to tell time. And he taught me how to do word searches so that my reading was better. Um, Unfortunately, when we moved all the time, and as he got older, we didn't get to see him as much. Um, However, he always remained a very, very important and vital part of my life. Um, it's interesting as I grew up. Um, I sort of latched on, I think, to different people depending on where I was living. I was easily impressed when I was young by other people that I would meet of my own age. If they were on the basketball team, or they were really smart, or they had the latest fashion, etc. I was always lagging behind in that. Again, because we moved so much, I always had to almost be a chameleon and reinvent myself every time we moved so that I would fit into the situation. Um, as an adult, that's not necessarily the best thing. You want to be your true self and not pretend to be something else. Um, but it certainly helped me become adept to networking, um, breaking the ice, going up to people, talking to them, finding out all about them so that, again, I wouldn't be alone. I had to do that in order to make friends and to survive in a world where, a child on their own, without anyone supporting them or having friends, can be very, very miserable.
Wow. Yes, it certainly can be very miserable. Apologies, I'm not.
That's okay.
I'm a bit under the weather, and I actually had to cough. Um, but yes, you're so right. When you're a child, it's not easy. It's really not. So tell me, who was your role model when you were growing up?
Um, Again, I looked to my grandfather
Yeah.
because he was very disciplined. He would get up very early. He was, always beautifully dressed. Um, he seemed to have this presence in a room. And, for me as a small child looking up to him, he was, bigger than life for me. As we moved around and as I started to grow up, I discovered that swimming, I became a competitive swimmer. And that was my life for 5 years, up at 4 o'clock every morning, swimming for 2 hours before school, going to school with wet hair, then coming home, having a snack, doing some homework, and going back to the pool and swim again. Um, so, of course, I looked up to different swimmers at the time, Mark Spitz and Becky Smith, and those were my idols. I never really idolized like movie stars or things like that. You know, I looked at them and thought, oh, wow, they're beautiful or this or that. But that wasn't what sort of made me feel like I wanted to get to know them more. Certainly, when I was swimming, it was all athletes. Then later, I was doing a lot of singing and musical theater. So my idols were Broadway stars, Mandy Patinkin, and different ones Glenn Close, who were successful on stage. I looked at the people on stage and thought, that they were so together and so um, grounded, and yet I found that when I was on stage, it was easier for me to be in front of hundreds and hundreds of people. I felt very, very comfortable because it wasn't me, it was the character that I was playing. When I stepped off the stage, then all those issues of self doubt and shyness and, am I worthy? Um, would creep in. So it was an interesting balance for me, and I've had to work really, really hard at getting over that. Um, the slogan that I have um, adopted, especially since my breast cancer diagnosis and having undergone a double mastectomy, struggling with body image, struggling with, am I still the same person? Really having to work on my confidence. So my slogan now is I am enough. And I have to remind myself of that every day, that I am okay. I am good enough. I have something to offer people. Um, and it's difficult. It becomes a mantra that you have to use. Doesn't I don't just wake up in the morning and feel like I'm superwoman and I'm out to blaze the day. I really have had to work very, very hard on it, especially on body image. And we women struggle with that all the time. There's so much in the media that to be a beautiful woman, to be attractive, you have to look a certain way. I've never been a size zero, right? I'm a little bit of a chunky tuna. I got the curves. I basically grew up in the wrong generation. I could have been I refer to myself as Rubenesque, so I have curves. If I was born in the 1800s, I'd be a real hot mama, but I am what I am. But when you lose your breasts, that that really
Oh,
knocks you down a couple of pegs. And society,
yeah.
still says that to be a woman and to be attractive, you have to have them. Well, you know, sorry, is a rose does a rose smell as sweet? If it's not called a rose. I mean, that's a Shakespearean quote. And I've learned that what I'm still me. I'm still
Yes.
that person that has a lot of life, who loves to connect with people, loves to entertain, um, loves to laugh. And it's hard. It's really hard, especially when you have the outside forces broadcasting what the perfect woman is supposed to be, and you're struggling with losing something that most people define you as a woman. So it's hard, and that's also why I found it really important to share my journey, because I know that there's other women going through all those feelings that I had. It's very, very difficult, and not everyone has a support system. So if I could be that for someone, I'm happy to share.
Yes. Wow. I love that. And I want you to please reiterate that statement for us, because we all are,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Please
So
go.
yeah, so I am enough. Um, I know it sounds cliche, but it really does hit home with me. And again, I have to remind myself every day that, yes, I have something to offer. And, having had cancer and losing my breasts doesn't make me any less of a woman or a person or a friend or a daughter.
Yes.
Um, I'm still that Patti Hone that everyone knew before. I'm a little lighter. That's all.
Wow. You know, um, I think, okay, I guess it does sound cliched because it's said a lot
Mhm,
nowadays, right?
mhm.
But I think the reason that it's said a lot nowadays is because so many people need to hear it.
Yes. Yeah.
So many people go through different challenges in their life, right?
Hmm.
So much adversity. I mean, everybody faces adversity. You might be looking at somebody's Instagram reel,
Hmm.
or their Instagram, and just or their whatever window it is that you have into their life, right? You
Yeah.
look through that and you think that they have a wonderful life. Everything's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what we don't realize is that we're only seeing the highlights,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Um,
And I think that's another reason why I wanted to. I mean, my blog is very, very honest. Some of it is emotional. I mean, there's been times where I was writing posts and I couldn't see the keyboard because, I was crying. And it wasn't crying feeling sorry for myself. It's just that emotion comes bubbling up. Um, when you're out and about and meeting with friends stuff, I tried to be very, very stoic. I tried to always, people would say, oh, how are you? And I'd be like, I'm great, I'm fine. I never wanted them to see um,
yeah,
weakness. I
yeah,
think women um, have always had to do that. We're always the ones that, have to keep the family together, have to, work harder than anybody else, have to juggle, 40 different things every day. And so it was very difficult for me to be vulnerable. So with my blog, I was able to do that. Um, People didn't have to see me, but they could read what I was going through. And every post that I did, even if it was describing something, one of my surgeries or a treatment or things that were very difficult for me, I always made sure that at the end of each post, there was a positive message, not just for the readers, but for me too. I needed to finish that post and that, um, regurgitation of everything I was going through was something positive so that when I closed my computer, I was feeling good about myself and not sort of, wallowing in whatever the trauma was that I had been describing.
yeah, yeah. I think that's something that really stood out to me when I read it. Um, because while it speaks about your journey, and we all know that, any sort of cancer has a lot of harrowing experiences, really. So when I read your blog and I saw that you described these experiences, but I didn't feel heavy afterwards.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And that to me is so important because, we need to aspire towards positivity,
Mhm.
regardless of what we're facing. We all have different things that we face, right? And positivity is what gets us through, really, because otherwise we'll remain there,
Yeah,
and your past will be your present, and it'll be your
exactly.
future.
Yeah.
So, wow.
And, my blog does talk about my journey with cancer, but really it's about going through, some sort of traumatic experience. And we all have, you know, people lose a parent, they get divorced, they lose a job, whatever it happens to be. Mine happened to be breast cancer, but I try to make it relatable so that whatever you're going through in your life, hopefully my words will help you get through it. It's not just about cancer. Um, a lot of things that I talk about are mental health. Um, I learned very quickly that going through a trauma like cancer really affects you mentally. And I feel that there is no health without mental health unless if you're depressed or have issues mentally, emotionally, those are things that you have to work on just as hard as your physical ailments. Um, and when COVID happened, that was even harder. As I said, cancer
Yeah,
can be very, very isolating. And
yeah,
then with COVID, you know, couldn't see any of my friends, couldn't see family, and you're stuck at home and going through, terrible
yeah,
physical pain and emotional pain. So again, I think touching on those things and about the isolation, people could relate to that because COVID affected so many people,
yeah,
especially mentally. being so removed from our daily routines and our daily support systems.
Yes, I honestly, I know COVID was very difficult for many of us,
Mhm.
myself included. And I cannot imagine what it must have been like for you, to go through that period of isolation and still be battling
Mhm.
this cancer diagnosis. Wow, like honestly, I admire you so much, because you show strength in the face of adversity.
Well, thank you. That's not to say that I didn't have some boohoo days where I was curled up in my jammies, watching Netflix and, um, not combing my hair. But
Yeah,
I've always tried to, find the positive in everything.
yeah,
I'm a glass half full person, not a glass half empty. And
yeah,
I think that has really helped me get through this journey. I try to find the humorous things,
yeah,
um, because if I can make other people laugh along with me, it breaks that tension and it makes other people feel good too. So it's a win-win that way.
yes, absolutely. Let's go to the comments and um, oh, I want to see. So we have Marcello. Hi, Marcello. He says Team Live. And hello from Atlanta, Georgia. Nice to see you here. Oh my goodness. It's been so long. I hope all is well on your side, Marcello. And he's saying hello to some people in the comments. I love that. He also says that this is the worst feeling. I do not want to revisit those COVID days,
Mm.
right? Um, honestly, there's so much going around lately that they're talking about actually putting us back into isolation. I
I
really
know.
hope it doesn't happen. Uh, it's devastating to many,
Yeah.
really. Um, so let's go on to the second half of the questions I want to ask you. So, um, what is your take on networking? How do you approach networking, Patty? I mean,
Um, yes.
yes, go ahead.
um, I've always had to sort of force myself to do it. I mean, people look at me and they think, oh, she's very gregarious and very up, and I am. But behind that,
Yes.
I'm actually very shy one on one. Again, I can stand in front of hundreds of people and talk and lecture and share my journey. But if I have to go one on one with someone, it's more difficult because they see the real me and all my flaws. So I had to really push myself in different areas, being at a conference, for instance, and seeing a group of people talking and being able to walk over and sort of infiltrate the conversation and wait for a pause and introduce myself and get to know people. A lot of people in those situations hang back on the wall, or they get a drink and they're over by a plant, or they only will hover and talk with people that they already know. That's great. I mean, you want to reconnect with people, but the whole idea of networking is to get to know people that you don't know. So, um, yeah, I've had to work hard in it, but I've been successful. I'm obviously not 21, so I've been doing it quite a while. And the more you do it, the better you become, and the more
Yeah.
self-assured you are. So it's something that you have to work on, and I think young people have to do that and have to practice and um, get to know what kind of skills they have and how they can relate to other people. So I always try to, mentor younger people too in those situations, especially at conventions and conferences when they can feel a little bit lost. Um, they follow me around and I help introduce them to other people too.
That's beautiful. Um, yes, networking, we do need to get out of our comfort zone,
Mhm.
really. Otherwise, we'll end up just being there against the wall or
Yeah,
a plant next to a plant, right?
yeah,
Having your
exactly.
drink. Um, I've had some crazy networking experiences where I went into a room that I knew where I knew no one.
Mhm,
Um, but before I did that, it took me quite some time to muster up the courage to go in that room, right?
mhm.
And this can be done. This can happen to people online or in person.
Yeah,
There are many people that actually look at LinkedIn and they don't want to make a comment. They don't want to message anybody because for fear of judgment, for fear of not doing it right.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, how has networking impacted you?
Um, well, certainly once I had my diagnosis and underwent a double mastectomy, I remember the first networking event that I went to after that, and I was so self conscious. It was with a group where I knew a lot of people, and they also knew that I had been battling cancer. So
Wow.
there was a lot of focus on me. Um, and it's strange because people who I'd known for years, who very easygoing, could talk to them no problem, didn't know what to say to me, didn't know what to do. Oh, is she the same person? Is she different? And I lost my breath. I didn't lose my personality or who I am at the core. So um, I found that difficult. The other thing is, instead of people looking at my face, everyone was looking at my chest. So it was like, hello, just up here, please. So, you feel like you're under the microscope. It was almost like, a teenager's coming out party, when they turn 16. Um, and I found it very awkward because other people felt uncomfortable around me because of what I had gone through. So I had to work very hard at breaking the ice, showing people that I was fine, that I'm still, the same Patti Hone that they knew before. So it's it is difficult because people are uncomfortable around you. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to ask. They don't know if you're doing well or maybe you're not. So um, I've always been, like I said, very, very honest. So I would let people know, hey, I'm coming through this. I've had, 3 surgeries. I have 5 more to go. Let them know, but they can see that, I'm thriving, even though I'm going through something, very, very traumatic.
I imagine I imagine people are a bit afraid of a negative answer
Mhm.
because they don't know how to handle it, right?
Exactly.
They don't
So
know how to
most of
respond.
yeah, so most people wouldn't say anything to me, because they didn't want to hear, oh my gosh, I'm not in remission or I'm, whatever. And it was interesting when I was diagnosed too, the questions that people would ask me, like, oh my gosh, are you going to lose your hair? And I was like, I might lose my life. So, my hair is kind of secondary here.
Yeah.
Um, or they'd just very, very strange questions that I thought, why are you asking me these sorts of things? And then I realized it was because they were uncomfortable and they were just trying to grasp at whatever they could in order to have a connection with me. So unfortunately, some of the things they said or did weren't the best. I mean, I do write a blog about 10 things you shouldn't say to someone with breast cancer, but you did. So um, yeah, they come out from left field, but I had to kind of take a step back and say, you know what, it, they're coming from the right place, from the right reason. They just kind of didn't say what they should say. So, I forgave people that came out and said some pretty crazy things to me. So,
I can imagine. I think I need to go back and look for that blog. I
yeah,
think people just they lose sight of the fact that you're still human
yeah, yeah.
after
But I,
all of that, right?
I wasn't, a fragile piece of china. I wasn't going to fall apart. And as people got used to seeing me out and about after going through my journey, then they started to relax. And then I had people coming to me and saying, I really appreciate your honesty. I really appreciate, you sharing the journey. It helped me, or I passed it on to my neighbor who was going through cancer, or, everybody knows somebody that's had or is having to deal with cancer. I mean, 1 in 3 people in North America will have cancer. 1 in 7 women will have breast cancer. I mean, it's very, very scary statistics.
Yeah.
Um, so it touches all of us in some way or another. And I just feel so blessed that I'm able to be here and talk to you and
Yes.
still be thriving. It's 5 years ago since I was diagnosed. I've had 8 surgeries. Um, and it's an ongoing thing. I mean, right now is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but for those of us going through it, every month is Breast Cancer Month. Every week, every day, we're constantly reminded. Um, I have huge scars that go from my breastbone all the way around to my shoulder blade. I actually measured one, and it's 17 inches long. I mean, it's
Wow.
huge. And looking at yourself in the mirror and not recognizing yourself. Now I'm getting used to it, but at first it was very, very difficult. I avoided mirrors at all costs. Um, but I learned that scars only form on the living. So I look at those scars now, and it's a tribute to what I've been through, and it's almost like a badge of honor. So um, I'm not ashamed of them anymore. I think, you know what, I got through something that a lot of people haven't survived, and I'm proud of my journey and what I've accomplished.
You should be. You should be. When I think about, you writing your blog and sharing your story that way, you get to touch many people with your blog. There are many that read it uh, and may not be sending you a message,
Mm-hmm.
but then there are some that send you messages, right?
Yes,
Um,
yes.
and I think I see that as a form of networking.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, when I look at what you've done and in your through your journey, um, I can see that networking has impacted you in a positive way, and I think it's helped
Most
you
definitely.
to impact others as well,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, most definitely. Um, putting myself out there, and bearing it all, no pun intended, but it has helped because then people feel like they can connect with me. There's no walls up. I'm very, very open and honest, and so I think I'm approachable. Um, there's no judgment from me. You can ask me anything, and I'm willing to share that. Um, and because of that, and because I've chosen to make my journey very, very public, um, I've now been made an ambassador for a breast cancer charity, which I'm very, very proud of. It's called After Breast Cancer. It's a Canadian charity, and it provides women with all the things that they may need when they're going through breast cancer. Camisoles that hold drainage tubes, special mastectomy bras, prostheses. If you can't afford them, it's all given to you for free. I mean, one prosthetic can cost as much as $800, and they have to be changed, several times a year. So that really adds up. And no woman should have to worry about the financial side of getting things that she needs in order to thrive. So this charity is just amazing. We had a big pink gala the end of September, and all the ambassadors were brought up on stage, and we created calendars for 2024. There's 12 ambassadors,
Wow.
and we were treated to a day of pampering. We each had our own makeup artist, our own
Wow.
hairstylist, our own photographer. We were outfitted in gowns and jewelry. I mean, I've never worn stuff like that before in my life. And we had a whole day of photos and a beautiful lunch. And then they took the photos and created a calendar that we're selling in order to raise money for the charity. All of the proceeds go to the charity. Everything's on a volunteer basis. So when we had the photo shoot, it was all donated. Every photographer donated their time, all the makeup artists, the hairstylists, um, different sponsors donated the makeup and everything. It was an incredible day, an incredible experience. And to meet the other 11 ambassadors, I have to say it was one of the most uplifting things I've ever gone through, because all of a sudden I was part of a group um, that I felt comfortable with, that we could talk and laugh and share or not have to explain anything because we all understood. And it was, it's hard to explain. It was this sense of belonging, and that these strangers were not strangers to me. I felt like I'd known them forever because we all shared that one unique um, thing. And unfortunately, that thing was cancer, but
Yeah.
it really was incredible. And I was never very good at um, making time for myself and making time for friendships. Um, because I moved around a lot, I didn't have those long term friends like, oh, I've known them since grade 3, or, all my friends were always new every time I moved. And so these were strangers to me, and yet they weren't. It was just such an easy feeling and a sense of peace and camaraderie. And we're on a WhatsApp chat, and we support each other all the time. I let them know that I was going to be doing this today, and they're all encouraging me. And vice versa. We're all trying to spread the word. We're all trying to educate people about breast cancer, and we're
That's
all trying to help other women through this charity. So I feel very blessed that I am an ambassador for it. Um, and please, anyone who would like to help us, donate, or if you're in need or you know someone who's in need, the charity is After Breast Cancer. The website is afterbreastcancer.ca. And if you'd like to buy a calendar to support it, there's 12 beautiful women. Even I'm
yes.
going to say I was. Um, I'm Miss October because that happens to be my birthday, which is today.
Today,
Um,
happy birthday.
Thank you. So, October's breast cancer month, and it's my birthday. So I never thought at my age I'd be a pinup girl, but, who knew? So,
Hey.
all the proceeds go directly to the charity. Um, so the calendars are $20 each, or three for $50. If you'd like to reach out to me, I can get one to you. Um, but yeah, I would really appreciate it. And just check out the charity. It really is unbelievable, um, the difference that it can make for a woman.
Yes. Yes. So is it afterbreastcancer.ca?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So here's
And
the website.
yeah, it doesn't matter where you are in Canada. If you are in need, um, then not a problem. We will help you. And we're a community of women who are helping each other, who are bonding, who are uplifting each other, supporting each other. Everybody needs that in life. Even, I'm talking about having cancer, but it doesn't matter whether you have cancer or not. Everybody needs someone to cheer them on occasionally, and to reach out and to make that connection. So it's really, really important. And that's why I do it.
Beautiful. Okay. I want to show everyone your the calendar. So this is the calendar, everyone. If you would like to purchase one, please, you can. I think you shared, Patty. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you
Mhm.
shared it. You shared the link
On
on
my
your blog
blog.
as well,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Um, and I are they able to get it from afterbreastcancer.ca as well?
Yes, or they can contact me and I can send them one. But yes, please, after breast cancer, they have hundreds of them. And again, all the proceeds go to helping women. No one takes a salary, everything is volunteered, um, and you really are making a difference. So even if you say, oh, well, I don't use a calendar anymore, it's digital. Look, it's $20, and that $20
Yeah,
is going to make a big difference to a woman who desperately needs it.
exactly. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I want to go to the comments quickly.
Mhm.
I saw Marcello actually acknowledged what I said. He says, yes, it is uncomfortable. Sometimes it is hard to decide what to say or even how to engage.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Yes.
agree. But I think I think people wrestle with it a lot, and I understand that because they don't want to hurt you, they don't want to embarrass you, and they don't want to hear something bad. Um,
Yes.
but something as simple as just going up and saying, so great to see you. I can see you're doing well, or we've been thinking about you, or we've been praying for you, or you're in our thoughts. That
Yes.
means a lot to know that someone out there is cheering you on. um yeah, it's those little things. I remember, especially in the early days when I was, bedridden and on all sorts of medication and just feeling awful. um and I had a lot of friends that you know didn't come to see me or anything because they said, oh well, we didn't know what to do or what to say. um One person who came to see me, Natalie, she she brought me, a coffee, which was huge because I was stuck upstairs in my bedroom. Coffee was downstairs. It was very difficult for me to get around. And, she didn't have to say a whole lot. I mean, she just came in, she sat on the side of the bed, we had coffee together, and it was amazing. Just, those 15, 20 minutes made me feel normal again. I know that's a cliche, but
But I
you just,
absolutely get it. I get
yeah.
it.
It's,
Yeah.
it's those little things like, oh, Tim Hortons coffee. All the people in Canada, well, Tim Hortons is in the US too, but just to have that and feel like you're a regular person and you can kind of for a few minutes put this devastating disease behind and just share a moment and a cup of coffee with a friend. So just
Right.
keep that in mind when you meet someone that's going through this. Um, Again, you don't have to do some heroic thing. You
No.
know, I had three work colleagues um, that were very very supportive of me, and they became even more than work colleagues. They became personal friends. And one of my surgeries I had on December 20th, and all my family was coming for Christmas. And I thought, I don't know how I'm going to do this. The the surgery hadn't been scheduled, and they had an opening, so they called me, and I took it. And so the three of them pitched in, and they bought me and my family Christmas dinner. They brought, it was through a service at a grocery chain, and they brought the turkey and the stuffing and the vegetables, and all we had to do was put it in the oven and heat it up. I mean, that was so touching and meant so much to me because I didn't want to let down my family. I wanted the Christmas to be special. I wanted them to see that I was okay, but at that time I wasn't. I just had surgery. I was feeling horrendous. And by them doing that for me and my family meant so much. um, but again, it doesn't have to be something that large. It could just be bringing a coffee or just texting you and saying, hey, how are you doing? Again, feeling that you're still connected to other people, um,
It's beautiful.
because it's very hard going through that journey.
It certainly is. I can imagine. Wow. Yes. Just taking somebody's hand and walking alongside them, sending
Yeah.
them a message. That's that's support, right? And that's what we need. We need that. And we need that human interaction.
Yes. And everybody needs that. um,
Yes.
you know it doesn't have to be about having cancer. It could be anything, and especially during COVID. um, you want to, and if we go back into lockdown, oh god forbid, I hope not, but we all have to um, reach out to those who we love and let them know. um, you know, today is, again, it's my birthday, and I hate getting older and everything, but now I look at it that I'm celebrating a birthday. This is a good thing. I survived cancer, and a lot of people that I met along my journey didn't. You go for um, your appointments, and it's the same time every week, and you get to know other people and see them, and then you go for one appointment and that person isn't there, and they didn't get through the journey. And so every day I know how blessed I am, and i
Beautiful.
don't I don't want to waste that. I feel like I have something to give and something to share, and I'm bound and determined to help as many people as I can with my story.
Beautiful. I want to acknowledge some comments. So Whitney says, "Happy birthday."
Oh, thank you.
And we also I can't see it on here, but I have quite a few comments from you, Daisy. I know you're probably still watching, and I want to acknowledge what you say here. Um, wow. So Daisy came on and she says, "Buenos dias, amigos. Woohoo! It's Friday. Blessings to you all." And she says, "I love that statement. I am enough." Thank you for that. She also sent quite a long comment. I want to read it to you because I can't see it on my StreamYard for some reason.
Okay.
But it says, "That was me, Patty, the person who would only talk to people they know. This doesn't come easy to all of us. I really have to push myself.
Mhm.
Every time I network, I have to get out of my comfort zone. It's a constant push for me, especially now as an entrepreneur." And you hit the nail on the head, Inga. Sometimes we're afraid of saying something due to the fear of not saying it correctly.
Mhm.
But I'm learning to embrace my different.
Yeah,
Wow.
most definitely. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I mean, none of us are born with those skills. I mean, it's something
Right.
that we learn over time.
Yes.
Um, when I started my business 26 years ago, it was tough. Um, I didn't know if I would have a steady income anymore, and really had to put myself out there because I was the face of my business.
Yes.
So it's, you know, people look to me and they say, "Oh, you're so outgoing and it's, so easy for you." Well, it's not easy. It's still difficult, but that crippling fear is gone. I don't have that anymore, but I still have to push myself. I still have to say, "Oh, I really should, go to another event and network. I really need to let people know that I'm still around." So, yeah, I mean, kudos to you, um, for pushing yourself and doing it. Um, and especially, I think, women have a harder time because, again, we have a fear of presenting ourselves as too strong.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
you know, a lot of people think women who are very strong and very together and successful, that they're probably excuse my French, they're probably a bitch. Right? We have that, we're not allowed to, be that successful and compete in the man's world. We can't be a nice woman and a great mother and wife and those things and also be a successful entrepreneur. Well, I'm here to tell you that's BS, and you can. Yes, it's harder, but we owe it to ourselves to let people know that women can do anything a man can, and in fact, we're better at multitasking and juggling 100 things, and we're very dedicated and we work hard. Gandhi said, "If you want the world to change, help the women," and that's true. If you want, educate the women in a village, give
Yeah,
them the resources to start a business. That's how things are going to change, because it all starts at home. So, you know, if children have a role model of their mother who has developed herself and educated herself and is working, well, they're going to see that as a strength and not something that's a weakness. So, you know, women help each other out. Um, I think, too many of us are competitive with each other rather than uplifting each other. There's enough, work and business out there for all of us. So let's help each other out and celebrate each other and our strengths and our passions. Because, if we don't uplift each other, then who will?
absolutely. Oh my word. I was going to ask you what are your final thoughts, but I think that just about sums it up for us. We need to support one another. Um, because if we don't, who's going to?
Exactly.
Right? So thank you, Patty. Oh my word. What a blast. What a beautiful conversation. I can't believe that it's almost the top
I
of the hour.
know. We just started.
But I want to thank you very much for coming and just being you,
Oh,
sharing
thank you.
yourself with us. It was beautiful. Um, where can people find you?
Well, my email is quite long. It's phone, like call me, Patty Hone, phone at asyouLikeItMarketing.com.
Oh
You can
wow,
find my blog at tatacancer.blog or tatacancer.ca. You can find me on LinkedIn. So please reach out. I'd love to hear from you.
yeah,
If I can help anyone in any way, um, I'll do whatever I can. And again, for the charity afterbreastcancer.ca, if you can give a little, if you can volunteer, if you can support, you are making a huge difference in a woman's life.
beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Um, I'll send you to the green room if you can hang ten for me for a few minutes.
Will
I'm just
do.
gonna.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. If you're still watching, I want to say we appreciate you for showing up here, spending a bit of time with us, interacting with us, and just listening to Patty's story. What a beautiful example she is to all of us because we all go through adversity, and that is the way that we should. I don't want to should on anybody, but that is the way that we should tackle things, in a positive light and striving to impact others. Why not? Um, by the way, I want to let you know that November is jam packed with different events. So, starting on the 11th, I am hosting an in person event here in Toronto. So, if you are in or around Toronto, please make an effort to come out and meet with myself and hopefully some friends. Um, Look and check out my profile on LinkedIn. You'll find the link in there. And then November 18th, I will be speaking at the Confusion to Clarity Online Summit. You saw Dorothy Graham O'Dowd in the comments while she is hosting the summit with a friend, and I am speaking at it. It's free to attend. You'll also find the link to register and be part of it on the 18th of November in my profile. Then on the 27th of November, I'm hosting an online meetup. So please check it out. Come and just come and hang out with friends. It's really not like the regular networking events. So come out and see what it's all about. If you're only able to attend for half an hour, then do that. You're welcome. And then on November 30th, I'm actually going to be one of the coaches for the breakthrough sessions at the Next 10 event in Toronto. And if you don't know what the Next 10 is all about, check out my profile. You'll be able to find the links of all of these events. I actually posted it in a post yesterday. Yesterday was Thankful Thursday, and I was really reflecting and looking forward as well with gratitude. So the next 10 event is a paid event, but early bird pricing is still available until October 31st. So definitely, if you are in and around Toronto, please come on out and meet. You will definitely not regret it. So thank you, everyone. I trust that this live stream has inspired you to really strive to overcome whatever challenges it is that you face, and also support others in their journeys as well. Wishing you a wonderful weekend. I mean, it's Friday, so why are we not looking forward to the weekend? Wishing you a wonderful weekend and week ahead. Take care, be blessed, and I'll see you soon for another episode of Inspiration from Inga. Take care for now. Bye.